Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Andrea and I'm the Knitting PT here on this YouTube channel and on Instagram. I'm an orthopedic physical therapist who loves to knit, crochet, spin, all things fiber, arts related, and this is the corner of the internet where I share about my projects and what I'm working on. On Instagram and on YouTube, you can also find me sharing maker self-care reels to help crafters take care of their bodies so that they can craft for a long time pain-free. Um, in the description box below, you will find links to everything, including my website, where I have my shop where you can buy on-demand videos, my wrist and hand care kit. You can book virtual ergonomic consults with me through there too. I also have links to my Ravelry page, to my Ko-Fi, my Patreon, my Instagram, all the things. Also, there will be descriptions. Also, there will be links to dyers, makers, pattern designers, anything that I talk about in this episode today too. I think that's it. Yeah. It is now the end of February 2024. I've not been on here in a while, which I didn't mean to. I didn't really mean to take a 3 to 4 week break since the last time I made an episode. It just kind of happened that way with life, things going on. Things are just really busy these days, so there's a lot going on. But I did want to come in and make sure I did an episode just to catch you all up on what I've been making. There's been a lot of things going on here. I've been making a lot of things and just working away on a lot of different kinds of projects too. So, first off, what I'm wearing. This is the Directional Pullover by Amy Scher. I tested this for her, and the pattern was released, I think, when was it? Beginning of February, I think. As you can see, it is a colorwork V-neck pullover. So you can see the V-neck here, colorwork along the body and on the sleeves. And it came out perfectly. As you can see, the colorwork doesn't carry all the way through. There's always a light, yeah. The colorwork motif is super easy to memorize and to do. So if you're new to colorwork, this is a great one to try. And I think it's just, all of Amy's patterns are super well written. They have a lot of ability for modifications to fit your body shape, as well as including bust darts if you need them. The shoulders have shoulder cap short rows to help with ensuring a good fit with the slight drop shoulder that's going on here. I love the way the V-neck is written also, and I like that it is still a V-neck but not too deep. Like, I feel no need to wear anything underneath for, I don't know, modesty's sake or covering up or anything. It's really perfect. Yeah, I did mine in, this is American U yarn is the main color. And this colorway is Seashell on their worsted tweed base. And this base I love because the tweedy bits are all spun into the yarn. So you can see here my resulting fabric is very smooth. There's no nubs sticking up. And I really love that. My contrast color here is from Woolberry Fiber Co. This is Ode to Summer. Yeah, and they paired perfectly. I bought the American U yarn at Rhinebeck in the town of Catskills, where the Wool Folk Festival was. And there's a small shop there. I forgot what it's called now. But if you check out my Wool Folk video, I have the shop link there, but they had a small trunk show of American U yarn along with Cece's wool yarn, I think. And I got this here, there, the tweed. And the Ode to Summer is just a Woolberry collective color from, I think, like 2 summers ago. Yeah, it's like one of the first collective colorways I got after I joined. So yeah, I'm really happy to finally use it. Yeah. What else to say? It's just really well written. I really like it. As you can see, mine is not quite as boxy of a fit as you might have seen in some of the pattern photos. Mine's a little bit more form-fitting, and it's a little bit more form-fitting than I intended. My best guess to why that happened is just because of my colorwork tension. I don't have super tight colorwork tension, but I think it is, it could be looser. And in the pattern, Amy does have you go up a needle size when you're working with the color work, just to ensure that, you know, that it's not drawn in too much. But I still think I probably could have gone up another needle size maybe, because my gauge is on. Like, I measured my gauge. My gauge is on. It's just that at least, you know, at the body, you can see that it does cinch in a little bit. I don't mind it too much. But I do think that if and when I knit this again, I would do a solid color version and do that, because I would like eventually a boxier fitted version, a boxier version. I can't talk today. If you follow Knit and Grace, who also has a YouTube podcast, she knit a version in just solid colors, and it looks amazing on her. So that would be my inspiration for my next one. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. So let's get to our finished objects. Okay, I'm hoping my hair tossing does not mess with the microphone quality a lot. I'm playing around with where to place my microphone, where it makes sense, but where it doesn't make my sweater look super bulky, like if I were to hide it underneath, it doesn't have a weird spot. But I'm hoping my hair moving is not transferring over to the mic sound quality. But I apologize if it is. All right, finished objects. I've got 2 to share with you today. The first one is another test knit that I finished, and this pattern is coming out, I believe, on March 6th. It's coming out pretty soon. It is the Salty Air Sweater by Samantha Guerin. Here it is. So you can see it is a lace yoke. And what I love about this is that there's a raglan at the end of the lace yoke here. Yeah, and it makes it fit super well. I'll wear it in my next episode so you can see how it fits. I really love it. I've worn it several times already. It's really comfortable. Sometimes the problem I have with some circular yokes is that I feel like the way the circular yoke is increased, it feels almost like it's a little restrictive across my shoulders, or it feels like I want the sweater to sit higher up on my body, but it falls down more. It just gives me a strange feeling. And this one does not, because I think it has the raglan right at the end of the lace yoke, so it helps the sweater to just stay put to where it is, and it takes away that feeling of feeling like something's stretching across you this way. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, so this sweater is coming out in about a week or so, week and a half maybe. She does have a tea version, the Salty Air Tea, which I also test knit for her, I think 2 summers ago. I really love that one, so I did want to knit this one. I have a DK White version. I'm really glad I did. The yarn I used for this is Camellia Fiber Company, and this is the Yak DK base, which is a combination of merino wool, yak, and silk. And you can see that, I think it's the yak, I believe, that gives it this kind of deep color. Yak, I think, naturally is like a darker tannish color than, you know, sheep wool is sometimes, or merino wool. So it has this dark undertone to the color, which really comes out when you knit it up. And this is colorway Matcha. Yeah, you can see it has a slight halo to it too from the yak fibers. So yeah, I really like it. It's very drapey, as you can see. Very drapey fabric, not too drapey. I did have a little concern at first. I was like, maybe a drapey fabric with a lace yoke might not be the best idea because it might overstretch, but it's working out pretty well. Like, it hasn't overstretched. I've worn it several times. It doesn't feel like it stretches out when I'm wearing it, especially during the day. Again, I think the raglan at the end helps with that, helps it retain its shape. Yeah, so I highly recommend this pattern, highly recommend the yarn. Yeah, really love it. And I will wear it next time to show you how it fits on my body. So be on the lookout for that one. My next finished object is actually kind of like a finished goal. It is my first hand spun project that I've knit up. So this is the Manhattan Hat by Tori Yu. And I knit this in my hand spun yarn. The hand spun that I used was some 100% Rambouillet that I spun up from Wool Fiend. The colorway that I spun up was called Hobbiton. So you can see lots of earthy greens and orange and yellows and, you know, kind of deep oranges in here. Yeah, and on full, you can see there was a little bit of kind of like color striping going on, which looks super cool. I knit the child size. This is the child size for my son, who's 4. It fits him really well. The only thing is that after he wears it for about 10 minutes, he starts to complain that his head itches. So I think the Rambouillet does is too rough for his forehead. Clearly this is too small for my head. Like, well, actually, I guess I could wear it, but it just kind of looks a little ridiculous because it is kind of small. So I think what I might do is take like a swatch of fabric and just kind of like lightly baste it, sew it to the inner rim, or inner rim, the inner brim, that's the word, the inner brim of the hat, so that it doesn't, so the wool itself doesn't contact it against the skin. And then, you know, the rest of it is fine. The part up here where it doesn't really sound, it's really, I think, just itching him like right across his forehead. So I think that's what I'll do. Because he does like it. He does wear it. It's just after 10 minutes, then he starts ripping it off. But yeah, in terms of like my experience knitting this, so this is the third or fourth Manhattan hat I've knit. I really like it. I usually do not like to knit ribbing, but for this hat, I don't mind. And knitting with my hand spun was actually, I think my experience of knitting with my hand spun for this was a neutral experience. Like, I didn't super love it. I didn't hate it. It was just fine. It was kind of fun. Yeah, it was kind of fun, and it was nice to see that my hand spun does, I don't know, stand the test of knitting with it and being worn, like nothing broke. Yeah, so, but I definitely will knit more hand spun projects in the future. Yeah, but it was really nice to get this done, to get it done for him. If you watch my 2024 goals video, one of my goals was to knit a project up to my hand spun. So this is technically check for that goal. And actually, now that we're at the end of the finished objects, I think I'll just do it now because I'll probably forget if I do it at the end, is we are now up to 15 skeins of yarn used for the year. My goal for 2024 is to knit up 100 skeins of yarn. And, you know, when I say knit up, I really mean, you know, use them in a project. If there's like half a skein left over, I'm still counting it as used because it's out of my stash. So now with these two projects here finished, we are at a total of 15 skeins used up for the year. So not bad. Not bad at all in terms of progress. Okay, let's move on to works in progress. All right, so works in progress. I have a lot to share with you because I think I've cast on like at least 3 new projects since the last time that I was on here. And I've made decent amount of progress on everything, I think. So we are just gonna kind of go through everything. So first of all, let's see, where do I start? Okay. So first of all, let's check in with my Dopo Sweater, which is a pattern by Sung-Hee Hong, Sung-Hee Knits on Instagram. It is a kind of Aran to bulky weight project where you hold multiple strands of yarn together. It is a compound raglan, which means that the raglan shape is not, the raglan increasing is not like at an even rate. It's uneven so that it accommodates the shape of the shoulder so that you don't end up with a huge wad of fabric underneath your armpits. So here is mine so far. I've made a ton of progress since the last time I showed this. I split for sleeves. I've done about, I don't know how many, it's like maybe 6 inches on the body. It's working out really well. And I did the collar too. I did a fold over collar. And I did the collar pickup as the crochet collar pickup that Sung-Hee details in her patterns. And I really love it. I really, really love it. I cannot wait to have it done so I can wear it hopefully before it gets too warm to wear it here. You know, honestly, my office is so cold usually that I could probably still wear it in like April and be okay, at least in my office. Yeah, I don't know if I think the light will catch up how deep this color is. It is beautiful. I'm loving how it's working out. I am holding 3 different strands of yarn together. So I'm holding All Is Calm in Berry DK Cashmere from Woolberry Fiber Co. I'm holding Book Club from Woolberry on Sport Weight. And I'm holding Truffle Cashmere, which is a merino cashmere lace weight, fingering weight yarn from Treehouse Knits. And the colorway is the River Anduin. And I'll show you what the balls look like, the cakes I have. So you can kind of see what each of the yarns look like by themselves. There you go. Yeah. Really pretty. I love it. This has become kind of my main project that I work on, especially now that I'm down to really working on one test knit. Yeah, this is kind of my main project because I would like to have this done next out of all my works in progress. So Yep, that's the Dopo. All right. Next, I've also picked back up another long-term work in progress. This is the Havendring, which is a boucle cardigan from Wool Folk. This is knit up in boucle yarn. I am using Explorer Knits boucle. And, oh, I'm in the middle of the row. That's kind of inconvenient to show. Oh well. So it's knit bottom up and it's in Tarja pattern. So here it is so far. So you can see I finished the first block of color and I just started the second box. You can see here, this is fur, this is chinley again here, and this is timber. So you can see here, what I love about boucle is that it is great for intarsia patterns because all the stuff on the boucle, all the texture fills in the gaps so that it's a really clean line. Like, look at that. Look how clean that is. I'm really obsessed with how clean it is. There's a little hole here because I have to, weave in ends, and that hole will go away once I weave in my ends. But yeah, I'm really excited. I am right now in the process of shaping for the armhole, and then soon it'll be just doing the back piece, and then I'll do the fronts and the sleeves. So it feels nice to get some actual progress on this. For a while, I was just stuck on making this bottom piece, which is 13 inches, so it's quite a lot. But I was picking up here and there again when I got into watching the K-drama, and this was like literally the only project I could work on and still be like very invested in watching the K-drama and reading the subtitles, but not like miss out on whatever I was doing on my project. So this was actually really great for that. So yeah, this is the Havendring. All right, next I'll give you a little update on my socks. So I did work a little bit more recently on my self-striping socks. Oh, I'm again in the middle of a row, but I've just finished the toe on the first one, and I'm just starting the body, basically, or the foot. So I am doing the kettle chip pattern from Maddie Mo, and this pattern is for an afterthought heel, which I've never done. So I figured, while I'm on this journey of, figuring out my sock knitting again and figuring out what I like again, I might as well try different heels too, because before I've only tried the Fish Lips Kiss heel. The last pair of socks I did the Shadow Wrap heel from Denise, or using a pattern from Denise of Earth Tones Girl. And now I'm doing this kettle chip one, which is for self-striping, and it's an afterthought heel. Yeah, so the colorway for this is Nomadic Yarns, and it's called Letters to Santa. And it's super cute. Yeah, I haven't classed on the second sock yet. I really liked knitting them in tandem the last time I made socks, or the last the last pair of socks I knit them in tandem, like on their own needles, and I really like that. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you can go check out Edible Thoughts Makes. She has some tutorials about how she sets hers up like that, and I'm basically just following her. Yeah, but yeah. I'm enjoying working on them. They are, again, my swim class project where I work on them during my kids' swim class. So, swim class is only once a week, so they don't get worked on a ton. But I think I am traveling this weekend, so I think I'm going to bring these along for my travel knitting on the plane because I don't like to have like a huge project bag with me in my carry-on items. So I might get a lot of work done on these. We'll see. Okay, next is a quick update on my Moonflower Pulver by Sari Nordland. Here it is. I think since the last time I showed it, I am working just on the rest of the back piece before I, pick up for the fronts and then join in the round after I do that. I just want to show you because this cable stitch pattern is so pretty, so intricate, so pretty, so many details going on. There's a seed stitch panel, there's a faux cable, there's, a cable here, there's an interweaving cable all around here, and then mirrors on the other side. Yeah. This yarn is Camellia Fiber Company on the Serene Aran base, which is a 100% merino Serene 8-ply, 100% merino 8-ply merino Aran weight. This is color Twilight, which I love. Yeah, so I've been working on this here and there. This one requires a lot of my attention. Like, I can't really do cable projects and pay attention to something else, especially one where there's like one huge chart with multiple elements going on. Yeah, so the progress on it is slow, but I do enjoy working on it when I'm working on it. All right, 4 more. Okay, The next thing I've got is a new cast on. It is a test knit for Amy Sure. Again, this is a test knit for the weekday tee, which is going to be a tee version of the weekday pullover slash dress, which I also test knit for them at the end of last year. Let's see. So I'm still working on the raglan increases. As you can see, this is the first time I'm doing, I think, this type of construction where instead of casting on the round and then doing short rows, you're just starting from the back and then slowly increasing for the front. So that you can see it's just one, I'm knitting back and forth right now. So it'll kind of go like this, and then eventually, soon I think I'm going to cast on the stitches to connect them in the front. So that the short rows are in a way added in, but not truly short rows. Yeah, it's really clever. I think it's because of the lace pattern here on the raglans. Yeah. The yarn I'm using for this is a new to me yarn. This is Ritual Dyes Undine, which is a fingering weight cotton merino yarn. I believe the ratios are 60% cotton, 40% cotton merino. What am I saying? I can't talk today, and I'm really sorry, you guys. 60% cotton, 40% linen base. Yeah, and I don't remember what the colorway is. I don't have a band in here either. I will put it below. Yeah, but this was yarn that was gifted to me by Kimchi & Co. Megan. She gave it to me as a birthday present, I think 2 years ago. So I'm really excited to finally use it. Yeah, and so far it's working out really well. I did swatch for this one. Okay, so don't tell anyone. I don't always swatch, but I do when it's a new to me yarn or when the gauge might be something I haven't worked with before. So for this, I was good and I swatched. And this is my swatch here. And I got gauge for the needle size recommended. You can see it's very, very drapey. Yeah. So yeah. So that's that one. Just test knit that I'm working on for Amy. And I want to show you all the bag it's in, actually. This is a bag by Tanny Casey, who is an excellent bag maker, if you haven't heard of her. I have several bags made by her, and this is a vinyl pouch kind of thing that she made. I know she is, I think, working on another batch, so be on the lookout for them because she doesn't make these very often. She wasn't actually even going to make another batch because they're very labor intensive, like for all the pieces. But look how cute it is. So the vinyl has like some glittery kind of stuff in it, and then it's see-through. Yeah, it's just super well made. I really love her bags. This one is so cute. I do want to get another one of these kind of pouches whenever she puts them in her shop. I actually grabbed this one just in time. She was like down to like a few left. And I actually had wanted to get two because I thought it would be the only time she would ever have these. And I got cart jacked in the middle of it, so I only ended up with one. But that's okay. I'm just grateful that I even got one. But yeah, if you haven't checked her out yet, check her out for project bags. She has all kinds of different sizes and types like drawstrings, tote bags, zippered bags. I really love her bags. Yeah. Okay, next project is my Miles shirt jacket, which is also my project for the Make It Again Make Along that Stephanie of Edible Thoughts makes us hosting, where you make a pattern again that you've made before. So this is a Miles shirt jacket. I've already made one before. I love it. I wear it all the time. It's probably my most worn knit of all time because it's a great layering piece. And I cast on for my second one. Here it is so far. So I've got the back done. I'm working on one of the fronts right now. Then I'll have another front to go. Yeah, here's that side, that shoulder hem detail there. Yeah, the yarn I'm using for this is Durham Naturalist Serrano. Serrano, yes, Serrano. And let's see, the color is beige. So this is what it looks like. I got it from La Mercerie online, which is where I get a lot of my they're like my main online local yarn store, basically. Like I really like, they carry a lot of knitting for Olive, they carry a lot of Durham natural bases, they carry some indie dyers too, so I just really like it. Yeah. It's like it is a woolen spun yarn. So it is, lighter, it's a little bit more of a toothy, fuller hand feel than like a superwash merino would be, because this is also non-superwash, I believe. But yeah, I really like it. Actually, part of my experiment with this is I want to see if this is neck to skin soft for me after it's been blocked and washed. And, you know, if it's not a big deal because it's supposed to be a cardigan, a layering piece anyway. But I did want to see if it would be. Yeah, you can see the yarn itself is very kind of bouncy, a lot of bounce and twist to it. I like it. Yeah. Okay. The other thing about the project is that this project is one that I am knitting completely on Prim ergonomic needles. Prim is a company within the handicraft company that makes ergonomic needles. And you can see this, it has a triangular needle, which makes holding it much less fatiguing on your hand. The tips are a little rounded so that doesn't prick your finger. And these needles are really light too. They're made out of plastic. The cord is a steel cord, which is I've been liking. It doesn't kink or anything at all, but it's strong and flexible. They only have fixed needles right now. Yeah. Oh, I lost a needle stopper somehow in the middle of all this. Oh, is that it? Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So I'm knitting this entire project on these ergonomic needles because this is also a project that is, for me, I knit on US size 10. And US size 10? Yeah, US size 10 needles. And my hands don't really like US size 10 and above. They get fatigued pretty easily. And so part of it is this experiment to just test out the ergonomic needles and to share my complete unbiased opinion with you all. So far, I am liking them. I like how light it is. Like I was comparing it to another project that I have on size 10 like needles I'm using with like Haya needles, I think. And it is like a big difference between how heavy the projects feel because of how heavy the needles are. You know, especially if you're knitting on larger size needles with metal, which is usually what I knit with is metal. Like there's weight to that. And these, because they're plastic, they're very light. Yeah, and I think one thing I noticed too is that the needle shape, because it is triangular maybe, it just doesn't feel as large as when you're holding a circular one. The gauge is still on, like, because I did look at it and think, this doesn't look like a size 10 needle, it looks smaller, so I did stick it in one of those like gauge thingies, and it is size 10. It fits in the hole perfectly the way it should. It doesn't fit in any of the smaller holes. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what kind of sorcery that is that it works like that, but it does. Yes, but so far I'm enjoying them, and I'll continue to let you all know what I think. Yeah. Okay, two more works in progress. The next one is a crochet work in progress, which is super exciting. And now I don't, oh, here it is. Okay, so another one of my goals for 2024 is to actually start to crochet my blanket. I bought a blanket kit from Green Letter Day almost 2 years ago. And I had thought I would start my blanket in 2023, but I did not. So 2024, I have started it, and it's been quite a journey. I chose to do the Hexy, what is it called? The Love Hexy or Love Actually Hexy pattern from Green Letter Day. And I'm doing them solid color. So here it is so far. Yee! I really love how it's turning out. I've been told by many people who are more experienced crocheters than I that I picked a rather hard pattern to start out with for someone who hasn't crocheted in several years. Yeah, if I'd known that before that, I probably wouldn't have picked it, but I really like hexagons. I don't know what it is. I love hexagons, especially in like design. And when I saw this pattern with the hexagons, I was just like, if I'm going to crochet something, I want it to be hexagons. Like, I know it would have been easier to start with like a granny square blanket or to start with like granny stripe, but those just don't appeal to me aesthetically as much. Like this hexagon just screams to me. I love it. And I had a lot of learning pains, growing pains with learning how to make hexagons through crochet. There were a lot of times I ended up with a pentagon instead of a hexagon, especially when I was trying to connect them to each other, because I'm also doing a join as you go technique, of course, making it as hard for myself as I possibly can. But once I figured that out, it has been pretty good so far. But yeah, there were several hexagons in the beginning where I had to keep ripping them out and restarting them because I kept ending up with a pentagon instead of a hexagon. But I figured it out. I figured out what I was doing wrong. Yeah, so, but yeah, here's what it is so far. So all these yarns are from Green Letter Day. They're a mixture of yarns from her Drury Lane kit, which is a bunch of neutrals, which are all the neutrals. And then I also got I think it was a 5-color pack of blues in her color of the month update sometime last year, which are these. And then she had an oopsie sale recently where some seconds or oopsies are sold at a discounted price, and I got like 2 packs of those of just neutrals to just add to the blanket yardage. Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is basically I am doing a hexy in each colorway I have. And then once I've gone through all the colorways I have, then I'll start to, go back through the colorways and add them. I'm just trying to kind of organically doing them, trying not to have like two of the same color family next to each other, like not have two blues next to each other, but have it kind of broken up. I'm doing join as you go because I am lazy. I know that if I only do hexagons and I don't join them in the beginning, I will probably make all my hexagons and never join them in the end and just have a stack of hexagons. So we're doing join as you go. Even though I know maybe it would be easier to get a finished blanket that looks aesthetically pleasing the way I want it so I could rearrange the hexagons, we're not going to do that because then I won't have a blanket. We're just going to do join as you go. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah. My goal is kind of to do like a hexagon a day. I haven't really done that yet. I've done maybe 5 hexagons a week. I started this 2 weeks ago. So it's not bad. Yeah, I'm just kind of slowly working on it as I go. I can already tell that my crochet is getting better as I'm working on them. Like I think this middle one is one of the first ones I did. You can see it looks kind of big compared to the other ones because my tension was kind of loose. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out, really happy with it. I'm trying to let go of any perfectionism tendencies I have with this one and being like, you know what, if one hexagon looks a little wonky, that's okay. It's a blanket. Like this is just for me to get back into crochet and to have some enjoyment. Yeah, and it's definitely giving me more insight into tips I can give for ergonomics and posture for crocheters because I'm doing a lot of bad posture things with my crochet because I'm also still new to it. So that's been great too. A lot of like data mining too. So yeah, that's my blanket so far. And I'll probably give an update on the blanket like maybe once every 1 to 2 months or so as it grows, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, last project to share is Tino the wolf or the wolf dog in my house. So this is a pattern from the Moosh and Friends book, which is a knitted stuffed toy book. I made the lamb for my daughter a few months ago, and my son wanted a dog, and there's no dog in the book, but there's a wolf, and he decided that was an acceptable substitute. So I finished the wolf. I only just washed him yesterday, so he's not stuffed yet. I was actually thinking I might stuff him on camera while I'm talking to you all about something else later. We'll see. Yeah, but here's what he looks like. He has a little snout. It's super cute. He's got the arms and he's got a tail. Yeah. So what I gotta do next is stuff him, seam him up, and then pick out the yarn I want to use for his clothes. He has a sweater and he has a pair of pants and he has a crossbody bag, I think. So I've got to pick out the yarn I want to use for those two. Yeah, but I'm really happy to have him done at least, and then I can get working on the clothes. I lied. I have 2 more works in progress. These are spinning works in progresses that I'm going to show briefly. I don't have much to say about spinning because I'm still very much a beginner, but I figure I show you what I've been working on. So one of the things is I got a new spinning wheel. I got a Kromsky Fantasia, and I bought it through Love Mercery online. They are a retailer for Kromsky wheels. They don't have anything online yet, but if you email them at their customer support email, they can help you order one for sure if you want to get one through them, which is what I did. And so when I got it, I immediately want to try it out because up until now I've been using an e-spinner, specifically the Robot EEW 6.0 from the Dreaming Robots website. And an e-spinner is fine. I really like that I learned to spin on an e-spinner because I think if I'd had to learn on a regular wheel and have to figure out treadling, which is like, moving the wheel with your feet, like at the same time as trying to learn how to draft fiber, I probably would have like gone insane. So yeah, so now that I am fairly comfortable with spinning on the e-spinner, it was a good transition to a wheel. It went a lot smoother than I thought it would. I think I actually prefer spinning on a wheel because you can control your speed much more. Like on e-spinner, you can adjust the dial, but then you've got to stop and adjust the dial. But on a wheel, you can kind of just slow your treadling a little bit while still keep on going. And I just really liked it. Yeah. So this is what I spun up first, which is this pink fiber, pink and yellow fiber. This is from Yoni Makes. And this was a, let's see, where's the bag? This was a comb top. It was merino wool and mulberry silk, and there was about 1.2 ounces of it. Yeah, so I really liked it. This was my first time spinning merino and silk, so and I chose to do it on my wheel for the first time. And it was a little bit like slipperier of a fiber to use versus like Corriedale or Corriedale or like Rambouillet or Romney, but I think it went pretty well. Like I had a little bit, I think there are some pigtails in it a little bit in the beginning, especially when I was still trying to figure everything out. But overall, like it came out pretty well. I think it came out fairly consistent too. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. Now it's just 1.2 ounces, and I didn't feel like dividing that into even smaller ounces wise, just to have a small skein of yarn. So what I did was I ordered some Nest Fiber yarn that they had like 6 1 ounce like little colors of merino and mulberry silk combo. And I ordered that. When that gets here, I'll probably spin up one of them to then ply together with this. Yeah, that's that. The other thing I've been spinning is my Little Fiber Co. Mystery Club. So if you haven't seen, Little Fiber Co. is doing a mystery club based on cookware colors for the year 2024. I signed up for the Fiber Club because I do not need more yarn, but I would like to spin more, and this is a great way to motivate myself to be spinning more regularly. My plan is when the club comes every month, I'm going to start spinning up the fiber pretty much right away. So this is January's fiber. It's a great way to start off the club because it's totally my color. Look at that blue. So this is agave, and this fiber is 100% Romney and 35 microns, and there's 4 ounces. And I really love that she included the microns on here, because it is probably the roughest wool I've ever worked with in terms of spinning and knitting. I'm actually not sure if I will be able to tolerate the finished yarn in terms of any sort of project that is next to my skin, at least. So we'll see what I do with it. You know, either I give it away or I don't know what, but yeah, because it does feel kind of prickly to me, even just feeling it on the bottom like this. So this is half the fiber here. I am currently spinning up the other half, and then I'll ply them together, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, it's a fun club. I feel like, especially for me, tonals are really coming. I've been really loving tonals a lot more, so this is kind of fun to have like a tonal spinning fiber. So before I wrap up for this episode, I figured I would tell you about a little thing I did recently. I'm not going to share exact numbers, so if you're nosy, I'm not going to tell you, because I also do not need to invite criticism from the internet. But I recently went through and I inventoried my entire yarn stash, meaning I made a spreadsheet, and on the spreadsheet I would enter in the yarn brand, the weight, the colorway, the color family that's in, like, purple, green, blue, that kind of thing, yardage per skein, how many skeins I have, and then if it's a sweater quantity or not. So I went through and I did my entire stash. It took me 2 days. It was very eye-opening in terms of seeing how much yarn I have and seeing what I have the most of. Maybe not surprising to you guys, but surprising to me was that when I calculated the numbers, 50% of my stash is actually blue. Like, actually 50% of my stash is blue. Which I don't know why, but that did surprise me. I thought it was going to be like 40% or 35%. Not an actual 50, but it was an actual 50. Yeah. And it also, going through my stash again helped me to remember some of the things I have, which are like purchases that maybe I made 2 years ago or something. And, going through it actually made me want to cast on more stuff, because then I started seeing all this yarn and remembering, oh, this is what I planned for it. This is what I wanted. I still want it. And I did, take out some things for destash. So that was helpful too. But I decided to do that. I actually don't know why I decided to do it, because for a while I was someone who was like, I'm not going to inventory my stash. I don't need to give myself I don't need to self-guilt myself. And I don't think I self-guilted myself. It just reminded me how much great yarn I have. And I think it's going to definitely help me be much more mindful with my purchasing in this year. For example, I had pretty much decided that I'm not buying any more blue yarn. Like, I don't like to put myself on a yarn ban because that will only make me want to buy yarn, but I am going to put myself on a blue yarn dyeing ban because clearly I don't need more. I need to knit up more of it first before I buy more. So yeah, so that is the one thing I've come out of it. No more buying blue yarn. Um, I think now also it gives me a better idea of just knowing maybe what kind of weights that I might need to fill the gaps in for more and that kind of thing. But it really just reminded me of all the great yarn I have and all the things I want to knit. So, and that's definitely helped. Like I've definitely been able to resist a lot of updates that have been going on. Yeah, which is always kind of hard, because um, like I have the means to purchase yarn. It is a privilege. And because of that, I do want to support other small businesses. I want to support friends. I want to support dyers that are small and starting out, but putting out great things. So it is sometimes hard to balance that against not needing yarn, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, but it is helping me to be way more mindful of purchasing, that kind of thing. So yeah. So I thought I'd just share in case anyone else is interested in inventorying your stash. That's the information that I took down for my stash in terms of, and I also did a superwash or non-superwash because, most of my stash is superwash, but it was helpful to see like what is non-superwash. And I think having the inventory will also be helpful for when maybe I have a project that I want to make, but I don't know what yarn to use yet. I can more easily look at my inventory and see like what I have enough yardage for and then go and look for it in my stash as opposed to just standing in front of my stash and just kind of like trying to pull out skeins and see if I have enough. Now I can just actually look at a spreadsheet that will tell me if I have enough. So yeah, so that was helpful too. Yeah, that is it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what maybe you're working on, what you're looking forward to. Spring is just around the corner, which is always a nice change, even though it means saying goodbye to wearing sweaters all the time. Um, it is nice to get that change of seasons, right? Yeah. And hopefully the next time I come back, I'll have more updates in terms of whips and skeins used and that kind of thing. I am traveling this weekend to Kansas City. I'm teaching at the Unwind Fiber Arts fiber yarn. What do they call it? It's a retreat for the weekend, and they invited me to be their featured speaker. So I'm really excited about that because this is like a first time for me to be a featured speaker at something. So I'm really excited. If by any chance you're going and you're watching this, I can't wait to meet you. Yeah. And other than that, I think there will be a lot more exciting things coming up for this year. But I hope that you are enjoying your time. I hope you had a good start to the year. And I will see you all next time. Happy knitting!